Congressman McCarthy's field representatives are holding a public meeting here at the Rosamond Community Service District. And my first question to them was, or my statement to them was, what a great time to be connected into Washington, D.C. And they started enthusiastically talking about that, and I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Well, it's certainly exciting. I think that this is the first time since the 1920s that all three branches are controlled by the Republican Party. So
wow.
It's definitely going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be different, and we're excited for what lies ahead, I'd say. So.
Sure. And Mr. McCarthy being in such a prestigious position there, I mean, what a great time for all of his staff. And
well, yeah, and I mean, we're looking forward to working with our partners and the heads of the committees to see to get our best vision forward, to see what can be done. We've been trying for the last few years, but we've had a divided government, and now we're finally going to have a chance to put our vision into practice. So that's pretty exciting.
That is, isn't it?
Not just from a congressional standpoint, but from a staff perspective too, because now that's what we work on also. So.
True. And what a kind of unaccustomed position to be in. I mean, the majority now. And
sure. I mean, I'll spin the question back to you. What were your thoughts going into election? I think that a lot of people were surprised. Not to say that we didn't expect certain things to happen, but I think that a lot of people woke up the next day not really sure of what happened the night before. So.
Well, that's absolutely true. Although I thought it would be nearly impossible when Mr. Trump started out.
I think that's the story of the election in a lot of ways. Is people kept saying he'll never run, and they said he'll never win the primaries, and they said he'll never win the general.
Yeah,
and he went all the way through.
He just kept winning stuff.
No matter what way you look at it, if you're for him or against him, it'll definitely be a story I think that our kids will be reading about for years to come. So.
True, and I think it reinforces the popular concept that government is by the people.
That's right.
And for the people.
And especially when you look at like the Electoral College and where certain people were campaigning and where certain people were campaigning, it kind of puts into perspective too of just the strategic elements that go into the map of our country.
Yeah.
Where the votes are, and people are able to carve them out where they are, and that's how they win an election.
Right. And we in the media, or at least some in the media were so positive of the outcome. And yet, lo and behold, they were shocked.
Everyone was shocked.
They spent the next 2 days saying, how did we miss it?
Yeah, it's...
and people were saying, well, you didn't talk to the winners, the people that really voted. You talked to some other people.
Right.
And
I think that you'll be seeing that, I think I read in the New York Times that they're going to start putting people out to the Rust Belt states just to see what they missed, so to speak. Just because clearly, I think that's another takeaway story is that there are kind of two Americas, and trying to unite those two and make sure that we're representing all America, not just one of those two.
True enough. And the media is only part of the country. The media only carries some stories, not all the stories.
Right.
All the time. And in this case, obviously, my relatives from Montana, which went Republican, we called them, and they're ranchers, and we said, what happened? Well, all the eastern Montana ranchers came out and voted this year.
Right.
And that's what happened. But, Montana historically is a Democratic, miner-oriented state.
Well, even you have states like Iowa and Ohio that were so strong. They were really key constituencies for Obama, both in 2008 and 2012.
True.
And to see those margins completely flip-flopped in this election, I'm not an expert. I'm not going to pretend to be one, but it's something that I think people will be looking at and analyzing and trying to figure out either what went right if it went good for them or what went wrong if it went wrong for them. So it's interesting for sure. I'll have to research.
Yeah.
Thankfully, someone else is getting paid to do that because I don't have to do it myself. So.
Well, you're getting a treat in that you're in the job you're in right this minute.
Very blessed, very fortunate.
Sure. And how about you, Cole? You're kind of new to the scene, but how do you feel about the whole situation?
About the whole election situation?
Well, that or your spot in it.
Oh, well, it's interesting to have a front seat to history. It's very wild ride. That's a very good way to put it. It'll just be interesting to see how things shake out, with everything in one party.
Sure.
Control. I mean, not as big of control in the Senate as there had been in the past, but it'll be a little bit more of a difficult time to get things through there still.
Sure.
But I think it'll be very interesting to see how things work out. We'll have to see, what actually gets taken up when and how it goes about. So we'll just see.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It took a week for some journalists to realize
Oops.
that they should stop making their reports on the people that were crying and start reporting the people that were happy. And now that's kind of working its way out, although I still see a story about chaos in appointing the new people, but I don't think there's that much chaos. They have to appoint 4,000 jobs.
Right.
That takes time.
And there's just a short window to do it.
Yeah, and you want to, get the most qualified. Now, what training discipline do you bring to this job of visiting Mr. McCarthy's constituents out here in the middle of the Mojave Desert?
Well, I'm a relatively new field representative, so
Yeah.
just like Keenan, but second.
Oh, he's old hat. We've seen him before.
I'm bored.
For a whole year.
Chopped liver.
So, essentially just doing like what we're doing now, going around.
But what did you bring to the job? I mean, were you in another position, or did you apply for this?
Yeah, I have been working in public service, both in state and federal level. I've been in DC before, worked a little bit on the Hill,
Oh, good.
press items,
Uh-huh.
and I'm from Missouri. I'm a worker in state government there, and then this opened up, and I just ended up falling into place here.
Uh-huh.
So
In an
it's-
exciting, super exciting spot.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, with the whip, right?
Majority leader.
Majority, that's right.
Yep.
That's right, used to be whip. Yeah, majority leader. Well,
Yeah.
it'll be great. Now we'll have some great stories for the next year at these meetings. And thanks for coming to Rosamond to talk to us about it.
Thank you. That's our job. We're here to represent. So.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate that. Little as we are, and few votes that we do have, we still have.
Doesn't matter, we represent everybody.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I will say to anyone watching that we're always here. If you ever have any questions, comments, concerns, or an issue with a federal agency, that's why we're here today. We
Yeah.
want to make sure we're helping you. Again, regardless of what party you're in, what your beliefs are, we're here to represent you.
Yeah. Well, good to hear. Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir.